Isaiah chapter 5, verse number 11. Woe unto them that rise up early in the morning, that they may follow strong drink, that continue until night, till wine inflame them. Let me read you this article from CNN.com. Americans are binge drinking more. Binge drinking is a bigger problem in the United States than previously thought. Adults binge drink more frequently and consume more drinks when they do, according to the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, because they say that alcoholism or drunkenness is a disease. Well, if it's a disease, then it's the only disease that's bottled and sold. It's the only disease that the government makes a tax on distributing. It's the only disease that's advertised on television. It's the only disease that you have to be 21 years old to contract. Ursula Bauer, director of the National Center for Chronic Disease Prevention and Health Promotion, announced the findings during a telebriefing on Tuesday. Excessive alcohol consumption, including binge drinking, accounts for 80,000 deaths in the United States each year, making it the third leading preventable cause of death. Those deaths are typically the result of motor vehicle crashes or violence against others while under the influence. Can you imagine how you'd feel if you hurt someone, harmed someone, killed someone, broke someone's nose, and you were drunk and blacked out and didn't mean to and had no intention of hurting them? And by the way, sometimes that person is your wife. Sometimes that person is your child. Sometimes that person is some close friend or someone that you love. It's not necessarily an enemy. Binge drinking, said Bauer, is defined as consuming 4 or more drinks on an occasion for women and 5 or more drinks on an occasion for men. Let me ask you this. Do you think that the girls down at ASU ever drink 4 drinks? Do they ever get to the level of 4 drinks? Do you think that ever? Of course, it's happening constantly. It's happening. It's called binge drinking. Or men that would drink 5 drinks. That's 5 beers. 5 whatever. And they're a binge drinker, according to this definition. The new numbers from the CDC's January Vital Signs report reveal that 1 in 6 adults in the United States binge drink. Did you hear that? 1 out of 6 people. You say, why are you preaching on that? Come on, Pastor Anderson. You know everybody just drinks a little and has a little fun and just drinks in moderation. Why are you trying to spoil the fun? You fuddy-duddy, you stick in the mud. You don't want us to have fun and just have a little drink or have a little wine or just have a couple of beers. What's the big deal? Well, I'll tell you what the big deal is. 1 out of 6 Americans binge drink. Binge drink. I mean, drinking themselves to the point where if they do it fast enough, they could easily black out doing this. 4 drinks in a woman. 5 drinks in a man. It's happening to 1 out of 6 people in this country. And you say, yeah, but we're in a Baptist church. But I'll submit to you, I don't know how many people are here this morning, approximately 250 people that are here this morning. I guarantee you that there's people in here that drink. And you know what? There are pastors out there that are too naive and they think, oh, nobody in my church would ever drink. Nobody in my church would ever smoke. Nobody in my church would ever do drugs or look at pornography or gamble or buy lotto tickets or do stupid things. That's what they think because everybody's here in their Sunday best. But let me tell you something. There are people in every church that are guilty of these sins. And this is why we need to preach on these things. Let him that thinketh he standeth take heed lest he fall. There are people here that are backslidden. There are people here that are here not because they want to be here, but because they were brought here by a wife or a husband or by parents that have dragged them in here. And they're sitting here and kind of, listening to this. Hey, there are people in this room who need to hear it. And by the way, the children and the young people and the teenagers here, even if this isn't something they're into, good, because an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Right. We need this kind of preaching. Don't tell me we don't need more sermons on alcohol when 1 out of 6 Americans are binge drinking. Killing 80,000 people a year in the process through binge drinking. This needs to be preached. It needs to be taught. It needs to be thundered forth. If every child grew up hearing this sermon, they would have a healthy fear of alcohol, a healthy fear of God, a fear of a sin and its consequences. This is what we need today. We don't need another pastor to get up and explain to us why social drinking's fine. We don't need another pastor to get up and go soft on alcohol. We don't need another pastor where when we visit his home, we see the expensive Bed Bath & Beyond accoutrements on his counter just for keeping his wine chilled at the exact temperature. So he can slosh it around and be all snooty and all sophisticated. We need pastors to get to put off their fancy garb and their fancy drinks and their fancy little sophisticated ways and put on some sackcloth and weep for America and the drunkenness. 1 in 6 adults in the United States binge drink, usually 4 times a month. And they consume an average of 8 drinks per occasion. So binge drinking by definition is in excess of 4 to 5, depending on whether you're male or female. And this could be any type of drink. And 1 in 6 are above that 4 to 5 level, but the average is 8. That means there are people that are drinking more than 8. That means there are people that are drinking 9 or 10 to make up for the people that are drinking 6 or 7. 8 drinks. It's a major problem today. Listen to this. While binge drinking is more common among those with household incomes, listen to this, in excess of $75,000. Did you hear that? Binge drinking is more common among those with household incomes in excess of $75,000. These aren't derelicts. These aren't homeless people. These aren't poor people getting off work and cashing their paycheck down at the check cashing place and going and buying a 24-pack of whatever. The binge drinking is happening even more often with people who make more than $75,000 a year because they've got their snooty little wine cask and their little fancy wine menu because they think that somehow they can dress it up and make it look nice, when in reality, it's just as trashy as when the trailer trash minimum wage guy comes home with a 6-pack in each hand. It's no, what? Oh, but you're pouring it out of a fancy bottle. It has a French name. Yeah, right. It's the same exact thing. Yeah. You're just as likely you're more likely to black out with the fancy stuff because it has a higher concentration of alcohol. You know, what are the fancy drinks? The fancy drink, besides wine? Scotch, cognac, gin. I thought I heard a rap artist talking about gin, so that might be on the trashier side. I don't know. I don't want it. I remember Crown Royal. I've seen the advertisements, right? And they make it look so pretty and clean and glamorous. You know what it is? It's a bunch of vomit and sick. This is what drinking is. It's being on the floor of a public bathroom with your head in a toilet. Why don't they put that on the sign? Crown Royal. Right? That's the true story. In a dirty public restroom. But on TV, all the toilets are clean. But in the Bible, it said that when they're drunk, there's no place clean. The Bible says in Isaiah chapter 28, verse 7. You're in chapter 5, might as well flip over to 28, verse 7. But they also have erred through wine and through strong drink that are out of the way. The priest and the prophet have erred through strong drink. Even the preachers are getting drunk, he said. They're swallowed up of wine. They're out of the way through strong drink. They err in vision. They stumble in judgment. For all tables are full of vomit and filthiness, so that there's no place clean. No place clean. Let me finish this article that I was reading. Those in excess of $75,000 are the ones who did the most binge drinking. And it says here also, Somewhat surprisingly, while binge drinking is most common amongst 18 to 34-year-olds, when people who are over 65 years old binge drink, they do it more often. They do it more frequently. They do it, even 65-year-olds are doing this. Dr. Robert Brewer, alcohol program lead for the National Center for Chronic Disease Prevention and Health Promotion, noted that many binge drinkers are college students. Wow, who funded that study? That, I mean, that must have been the most groundbreaking discovery since, whatever. I mean, that's just amazing. Move over, Madame Curie. We have a serious discovery here. College students are the ones binge drinking. You're kidding. You send your kids down to Devil State and Satan U, they're probably going to be binge drinking by the end of it. Many of the binge drinkers are college students, high school students, even out at the public school system, even in high school, they're binge drinking. Active military. Who's been in the military? There's no drinking, right? Not a lot of alcohol consumed in the military. And also, this one kind of blew me away. College students, duh. High school students, duh. Active military, duh. And medical students. What in the world? I mean, you'd think that medical students, they're learning about the liver. They're learning about the hippocampus. And they're the ones just binge drinking. Unbelievable. I guess their motto is going to be, do as I say, not as I do, when they open their practice. According to the report, more than half of the alcohol adults drink is consumed while binge drinking. Did you hear that? More than half of alcohol consumed is done so while but everybody's just doing it in moderation. No, this is where alcohol takes most people into binge drinking, the vast majority of the time. More than 90% of the alcohol young people drink is while binge drinking. Did you hear that? 90% of alcohol that goes into the bodies of young people is during a binge. This is the norm, friend. This is normal drinking amongst young people. Normal drinking is binge drinking. That's why, young people, you shouldn't drink. Binge drinking, among other things, can lead to unplanned pregnancy, the spread of STDs, SIDS, and of course, alcohol dependence. Excessive alcohol consumption in men increases the risk of cancer of the mouth, throat, esophagus, liver, and colon. Women are more vulnerable to brain damage, heart damage, and liver damage. How would you like to be brain damaged, ladies? This bud's for you.